Hello, Amber Hudson here from First Makerspace. I'm going to share with you a quick tutorial on the features for the Q robot from Wonder Workshop. We're going to look at this from two different perspectives. There'll be a video on what students see and then a separate video on what teachers see when it comes to using the Wonder Workshop app and the accessories. So this is the landing page for both Dash and Q. It's code.makewonder.com/landing. If you were going to have your students use the Q robots in class, they would need access to this website. So whether you share that through your Google Classroom or through Clever, or just share the link, this is where students would need to come first, and then they will click on Play with Q. And this will take them to kind of this initial screen. If you have created a class for Q, you would have them sign in here with a class code up here at the top. But this is what they'll initially see. They don't have to sign in to do all of these particular tasks, but you're going to have them choose between coding with Blockly or coding with Wonder. Wonder is very specific to Make Wonder itself. Blockly coding is going to be very common across all aspects of various robots. So I'll show you first what this looks like to code with Wonder. So if I were to click on this and create a new program, it takes a second to load. Much like Blockly, you're going to see a Win Start button. That's kind of triggering the robot to tell it that it's going to be doing something. So that's going to be similar to Blockly. The main difference between coding with Wonder and coding with Blockly is that Wonder is a bit more picture-based. So here's my Win Start button. And down here in the corner, you're going to see access to all of these icons that represent various tasks that the robot can do. So it starts with the most basic ones and then moves through to a bit more challenging. So first is the wheel. Anything related to driving the robot will be found in this button. So if I click down the drop-down arrow, I can determine how I want the robot to move. Right now, I'm just going to focus on it moving forward. I can click on any box, and then just using the slider, I can change the direction in which it moves, measured in centimeters, and the speed at which it moves, also measured in centimeters per second. And then this is the key with Wonder, is that I need to connect the two together. So I just pulled that arrow and dragged it to that block. Next, if I want it to move its head, I drag that one out. And this is the nice thing about Dash is that it has this movable head feature. So I want the head to move. I can determine how far I want it to pan just by, again, dragging and dropping. And then the tilt of the head, what I want that to look like. So again, anything with a box, just click on it to move, and then I drag those two blocks together. If I want his body lights to light up, I can choose colors here by clicking on it. Currently it's orange. Let's say I want it to be magenta. Drag the block together. You kind of get the idea. So similar to Blockly, but also different. So once this program is in place, I would go up here to the plus sign and connect my Q robot via Bluetooth to my device. And then I'll be able to run the program and literally just watch these steps take place on my physical robot. My play button is down here in the corner, so that's how I would start to run that program. The other option then is to code through Blockly, which is going to be very similar. So here's Blockly. And if you've used Scratch or Spheros, any other type of robot, this is all going to look very similar. What's nice about Blockly is those same icons that we saw on Wonder are listed over here on the left-hand side. So here's my Win Start button again. Under Actions, these are the things that I can see it do. So before we had limited options where each icon represented one of these. Here we're getting into a little bit more in-depth programming. So under Actions, I can move, change the head, change the colors, the face, create sounds. So if I just want it to move a certain distance, I drag that block out, click it in place, and it always clicks. So that's a nice little feature. Anything that's inside of a circle can be changed. So here's where I can change the distance in centimeters that it travels and the speed with which it travels. Maybe then I want it to drive that particular distance and then turn a 90-degree angle and then drive forward again. And then I can add events. So this is where we're using the sensors and the buttons that are on the robot. Under controls, this is going to be a little bit more specific to the robot and how it handles certain situations. So if thens, comparisons, then you get into some more tricky type programming with variables and functions. And those are pretty in-depth. If I want it to do math within a program, I can program that as well. And if I'm using any of the accessories, the sketch kit, the blaster, or the gripper, I would need to go here to accessories to find those particular commands. So once I have my code in place, I would once again connect it up here via Bluetooth. And then my play button is down here for it to run that program. If I don't like something in the program, I can trash it. So here, let's say I wanted to get rid of this. If I just slide it over here, you're going to see the trash can appear out of nowhere, and I can trash that program and start over again. That's a very basic understanding of how Q works. So get online. The best thing you can do is practice, practice, practice.